What does it mean to be a blessing? After all, that's what God's call to Abraham was all about. Not only would God bless Abraham and his descendants, but God promised that through Abraham, all the families of the earth would be blessed. Yesterday, I suggested that we in the church, as Abraham's offspring, do not always live up to that high calling, in that many people look at the church in very negative terms. We're either too judgmental or too arrogant or too self-absorbed for people to have a sense that we're a blessing in their lives. Which then begs the question, what would it look like for the church to be a blessing to the world around us? Hello, I'm Stuart Baskin, pastor of First Presbyterian Church of Tyler, Texas. And this is your daily devotional for Wednesday, March 4th, 2026. As far as I can tell, there is no single passage in Scripture that tells us what it means to be a blessing to the world. That doesn't mean we have no guidance, though. Indeed, read as a whole, Scripture gives us quite a robust picture of it. But a lot depends on what you pay attention to in the Bible, and that's part of the rub. A lot of faithful people read the Bible as a set of rules to live by. Accept the rules, and God accepts you. Disregard the rules, and God rejects you. Obviously, that's a bit of an oversimplification, but it's not too far off the mark. Based on that understanding, the church often tries to browbeat the world into living by these same rules, and the church's witness becomes arrogant and judgmental, precisely the qualities that cause people to hold the church in a negative light. But what if you read the Bible through a different lens? Instead of rules, guidance. And what if that guidance leads in a different direction? I want to suggest two passages, one from the prophets and one from the Gospel of Luke, that suggest that the life of faith isn't so much about following a legalistic set of rules, but rather about a fundamental orientation in life. The first passage is so familiar, I'll bet you can say it yourself while I read it. It is from the prophet Micah, who said, "With what shall I come before the Lord and bow myself before God on high? Shall I come before him with burnt offerings, with calves a year old? Will the Lord be pleased with thousands of rams, with 10,000s of rivers of oil? Shall I give my firstborn for my transgression, the fruit of my body for the sin of my soul? He has told you, O mortal, what is good, and what does the Lord require of you, but to do justice, and to love kindness, and to walk humbly with your God." Do justice, love kindness, walk humbly with God. There is not a lot here that suggests we should be unkind or judgmental. Not a lot here to suggest that we should be arrogant in our discipleship. Not a lot here to suggest that we should browbeat others. Doing justice means to work to right the wrongs in the world that keep people down, to make sure that everyone has access to the basic necessities of life, like food, clothing, shelter, health care. Kindness means treating others with common respect and decency, regardless of their station or class or even their beliefs. And walking humbly with God certainly means being humble in our dealings with others. Jesus confirms this in an answer to a question from John the Baptist. Already in prison, John sent his disciples to see if Jesus really was the one they were waiting for. Jesus' answer is hugely instructive for us. We read, "So John summoned 2 of his disciples and sent them to ask the Lord, 'Are you the one who is to come, or are we to wait for another?' When the men had come to him, they said, 'John the Baptist has sent us to you to ask, are you the one who is to come, or are we to wait for another?'" Jesus had just then cured many people of diseases, plagues, and evil spirits, and had given sight to many who were blind, and he answered them, "Go and tell John what you have seen and heard. The blind receive their sight, the lame walk, the lepers are cleansed, the deaf hear, the dead are raised, the poor have good news brought to them, and blessed is anyone who takes no offense at me." Notice what's happening here. Jesus demonstrates who he is by what he does. And what he does has to do with improving the lives of others. His healings and miracles are signs of God's kingdom, and these signs are consistent with what the prophets like Micah meant by doing justice. So, being a blessing seems to have something to do with enhancing the lives and well-being of others, not arguing with them or belittling them, and it certainly doesn't include arrogance or being judgmental. Actually, there is another term we use frequently to describe this. We call it love. Tomorrow, let's talk about the connection between love and being a blessing to the world. But for now, may God continue to bless you and keep you in all that you do this day and in all the days ahead.